Let me tell you something that will shake the foundation of how you've been living. You think silence is weakness? You think walking away makes you the loser? You think cutting people off without explanation means you're cold, heartless, unforgiving? But I'm here to tell you today that the most powerful thing you will ever do in your life is learn when to stop reacting and start protecting. Not everyone deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves your explanation. Not everyone deserves a seat at the table of your destiny. You see, we have been taught wrong. We have been conditioned to believe that maturity means enduring everything, that strength means absorbing every blow, that love means tolerating every betrayal. They told us to turn the other cheek, and we did. But nobody told us that sometimes the wisest thing to do is turn your back and never look that direction again. There is a difference between forgiveness and foolishness. You can forgive someone and still refuse to let them back into your space. Forgiveness does not mean restoration of access. Write that down. The problem with most people is they react. Someone hurts them, they hurt back. Someone gossips about them, they gossip harder. Someone betrays them, they plot revenge. And in all that reacting, you know what happens? You become exactly what wounded you. You lower yourself to their frequency. You enter their cage. You wrestle with pigs and wonder why you're covered in mud. But a lion does not turn around when a small dog barks. Do you know why? Because the lion knows who he is. The lion understands that his roar is not for proving a point to something beneath his calling. His silence is not fear. His silence is royalty. And that's where you are right now. You're in a season where heaven is trying to elevate you. But you keep stopping to argue with people who are assigned to distract you. You keep trying to explain yourself to people who have already decided to misunderstand you. You keep fighting battles that were never yours to fight. And every time you react, you delay your arrival. Every time you defend yourself to people who never believed in you, you waste the energy that was meant to build your empire. Do you understand what I'm saying? Your reaction is their victory. Your silence is your power. Now, let me be clear. I'm not talking about running away from accountability. I'm not talking about cutting off everyone who challenges you or tells you the truth. I'm talking about toxic relationships that drain you. I'm talking about people who take and never give. I'm talking about friendships that only exist when they need something. I'm talking about family members who remind you of your past every time you try to walk into your future. I'm talking about those who smile in your face and plot behind your back. You know exactly who I'm talking about. You felt it in your spirit months ago, maybe even years ago. But you stayed because you thought it was the right thing to do. You stayed because you didn't want to seem mean. You stayed because you were afraid of being alone. But let me tell you something about being alone. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. Being alone is peaceful. Being alone is when you finally hear your own voice again. Being alone is when you stop performing for people who never appreciated the show anyway. Some of you have not met your true self yet because you're too busy being who everyone else needs you to be. You've been the fixer, the helper, the peacemaker, the shoulder to cry on. But who's holding you? Who's pouring into you? Who's protecting your peace? Silence is the language of the secure. When you know who you are, you don't need to explain it. When you know your worth, you don't need to defend it. When you know your purpose, you don't need to announce it. The people who are meant to walk with you will recognize your value without you saying a word. The people who are meant to leave were never supposed to stay. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you will stop wasting years on connections that were only meant to last seasons. You see, in life, everything has a season. There are people who come into your life for a reason, some for a season, and very few for a lifetime. The tragedy is when you try to make a seasonal person a lifetime partner. You try to hold on to someone whose assignment in your life is complete. And because you refuse to let go, you block the entrance for those who are supposed to come next. You're sitting there wondering why the right people aren't showing up, but you won't release the wrong ones. You're praying for new doors, but you won't close the old ones. You want a new chapter, but you keep rereading the old pages. Cutting people off silently is not cruelty. It's clarity. It's you finally respecting yourself enough to say, I will no longer allow anyone to have access to me who does not value me. It's you understanding that your time, your energy, your love, your attention are not unlimited resources. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give light when you're surrounded by darkness. And the moment you start protecting your space, protecting your energy, protecting your peace, that's when everything changes. That's when the right people show up. That's when the right opportunities appear. That's when your life starts to align with your purpose. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what if they change? What if I'm giving up too soon? What if I'm supposed to be the one who helps them? Listen to me carefully. You are not the savior of everyone's story. You are not responsible for fixing broken people who refuse to pick up the tools. You are not obligated to stay in pain just to prove you're patient. There is a difference between supporting someone through their growth and being the crutch for someone who refuses to walk. You can love someone from a distance. You can pray for someone without being in their presence. You can wish them well without having them in your life. Some of you need to hear this. Your kindness has been mistaken for weakness. Your patience has been mistaken for permission. Your forgiveness has been mistaken for forgetfulness. And people have been taking advantage of you because you keep giving chances to those who keep proving they don't deserve them. How many times will you let the same person hurt you before you realize that the pattern is not changing? How many times will you believe the same apology before you understand that sorry without change is just manipulation? How many times will you return to the same situation expecting a different result? That's not faith. That's foolishness. The truth is, some relationships are not meant to be healed. Some relationships are meant to teach you what you will no longer tolerate. Some people come into your life to show you exactly what you don't want so you can recognize what you do want when it arrives. Not every ending is a failure. Some endings are the beginning of your freedom. Some goodbyes are the hello to your future. Some closed doors are God's way of saying, I have something better, but you have to let go of this first. And here's the beautiful thing about cutting people off silently. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need to write the long message. You don't need to have the closure conversation. You don't need to make them understand. Because the truth is, people who truly care will notice when you pull away. They will ask. They will fight for the relationship. They will reflect. But those who don't even notice, those who don't even reach out, those who replace you without blinking, they just showed you exactly who they were. Believe them and move on. Silence is not passive. Silence is a decision. Silence is power. Silence is protection. When you stop reacting, you stop feeding the chaos. When you stop defending, you stop giving energy to lies. When you stop engaging, you stop validating nonsense. And in that silence, something incredible happens. You start to hear yourself again. You start to feel peace again. You start to see clearly again. You realize that most of the drama in your life existed because you kept responding to it. The moment you stopped talking, the noise disappeared. Let me tell you about a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, what happens? It's buried. It's in darkness. It's surrounded by dirt. And for a while, nothing happens. You don't see anything. You don't hear anything. It looks like death. But beneath the surface, something powerful is taking place. The seed is breaking open. The seed is rooting. The seed is preparing for the explosion that's coming. And one day, without announcement, it breaks through the soil and becomes a tree. It didn't need to explain itself. It didn't need to defend its process. It just grew in silence, in secret, until the time was right. That's you right now. You're in your silent season. You're in your breaking season. You're in your rooting season. And people don't understand it. They think you're running. They think you're hiding. They think you're being proud. But you're not running. You're growing. You're not hiding. You're healing. You're not proud. You're protected. And when you break through, when you rise, when you bloom, they will all see that the silence was never weakness. The silence was preparation. You have to understand something. Not everyone is going to celebrate your growth. Some people liked you better when you were broken. Some people preferred you when you were struggling. Some people were comfortable with the old version of you because it made them feel better about themselves. And now that you're changing, now that you're rising, now that you're setting boundaries, they don't like it. They call you different. They say you've changed. And you know what? They're right. You have changed. And that's the whole point. You're not supposed to stay the same. You're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to become who you were created to be. But here's the danger. When you start evolving, some people will try to pull you back. They will remind you of who you used to be. They will bring up your past. They will try to make you feel guilty for moving forward. And if you're not careful, you will stay small just to make them comfortable. You will dim your light just to keep them from feeling threatened. You will shrink just to fit into spaces you've outgrown. But I'm telling you today, don't you dare apologize for your growth. Don't you dare feel bad for setting boundaries. Don't you dare stay small because someone else refuses to grow. You were not created to live at the level of other people's insecurities. You were not designed to stay stuck because someone else is comfortable there. You were not born to tolerate toxicity just because it's familiar. You were created for greatness. You were designed for purpose. You were born to make an impact. And everything that does not align with that, everything that does not support that, everything that does not celebrate that has to go. And it has to go quietly. No drama. No explanation. Just a silent, powerful exit. Now, let me tell you what happens when you start cutting people off silently. First, you will feel guilty. You will feel like you're being mean. You will feel like you're abandoning them. That's normal. That's your conscience trying to protect everyone except you. But push through it. Remind yourself that protecting your peace is not selfish. Remind yourself that you cannot help anyone if you're empty. Remind yourself that saying no to the wrong people is saying yes to the right ones. Second, people will test you. They will reach out. They will act like nothing happened. They will try to guilt you back into the relationship. Why are you acting different? Why are you being distant? I thought we were close. And this is where most people fail. They feel bad. They explain. They re-engage. And before you know it, they're right back in the same toxic cycle. Don't do that. Stay silent. Stay strong. Stay focused. If they truly valued you, they wouldn't have done what they did. If they truly respected you, they wouldn't have crossed the boundaries they crossed. Third, you will start to see clearly. When you remove the clutter from your life, you start to see who was real and who was fake. You start to see who was adding value and who was draining it. You start to see who was for you and who was using you. And it will hurt. Some of the people you thought were solid will turn out to be sand. Some of the people you thought were friends will turn out to be fans. Some of the people you thought were blessings will turn out to be lessons. But that's okay, because now you know. And knowing is the first step to freedom. Fourth, new people will come. Better people, real people. People who match your energy. People who celebrate your growth. People who pour into you as much as you pour into them. People who don't need you to explain your boundaries because they respect them. People who don't drain you because they understand the value of mutual support. And you will look back and realize that losing the wrong people was actually gaining the right ones. You see, life has a way of balancing itself out. When you remove the negative, the positive has room to enter. When you cut off the toxic, the healthy can grow. When you stop tolerating what you don't deserve, you start attracting what you do. But it requires something from you. It requires courage. It requires discipline. It requires you to value yourself enough to protect yourself. And for some of you, that's the hardest part. You've spent so long putting everyone else first that you don't even know how to prioritize yourself. You've been so busy being what everyone needs that you forgot what you need. But today is the day that changes. Today is the day you decide that. Your peace is more important than their opinion. Today is the day you decide that your future is more important than their feelings. Today is the day you decide that your purpose is more important than their presence. And you don't announce it. You don't make a big speech. You don't post about it on social media. You just quietly, powerfully, gracefully remove yourself from everything and everyone that is not meant for you. Let me tell you something about a manufacturer. When a manufacturer creates a product, he writes a manual. That manual tells you how to use the product. It tells you what to do and what not to do. It tells you how to maintain it. And if you follow the manual, the product works perfectly. But if you ignore the manual, if you use the product the wrong way, it breaks down. And when it breaks down, you don't blame the product. You blame the misuse. You were created with a purpose. You were designed with a manual. And that manual tells you what relationships to keep and what relationships to release. It tells you what environments to stay in and what environments to leave. It tells you what to tolerate and what to cut off. And when you follow that manual, your life works. But when you ignore it, when you allow people to misuse you, when you stay where you don't belong, you break down. And the breakdown is not because you're weak. The breakdown is because you're being used outside of your design. You were not designed to be disrespected. You were not designed to be taken for granted. You were not designed to be anyone's option. You were designed to be valued, honored, respected, and celebrated. And anyone who does not treat you that way does not deserve access to you, period. No exceptions, no excuses. No second chances for people who showed you exactly who they are the first time. Some of you have been praying for God to remove certain people from your life. But God is waiting for you to do what He already gave you the power to do. He gave you discernment. He gave you wisdom. He gave you strength. He gave you the authority to choose who stays and who goes. But you keep asking Him to do what He's already empowered you to do. You keep waiting for some supernatural sign when He already showed you the red flags. You keep hoping they will change when He already told you they won't. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for them to understand. Just move silently, powerfully, and trust that what's meant for you will find you when you're no longer holding on to what's not. Now, I want to speak to those of you who have been cut off. Those of you who have been on the receiving end of someone's silence. And you're confused, you're hurt, you don't understand why they walked away without explanation. Let me tell you something. If someone can walk away from you without a word, it means you gave them 1,000 reasons before that moment. It means they tried to communicate and you didn't listen. It means they set boundaries and you kept crossing them. It means they gave you chances and you kept proving you didn't deserve them. Their silence is not cruelty. Their silence is self-preservation. Their silence is the final boundary you refuse to respect. And instead of being angry, instead of playing the victim, maybe it's time to reflect. Maybe it's time to own your part. Maybe it's time to grow. Because the truth is, people don't just walk away from good things. People walk away when staying costs them their peace. And to those of you who are about to cut someone off, let me give you this final word. Do it with love. Do it with grace. Do it with peace. You don't have to be cruel. You don't have to be vindictive. You don't have to burn the bridge. You just quietly, calmly remove yourself. Wish them well in your heart. Pray for them from a distance. But protect your peace at all costs. Because your peace is your power. Your peace is your clarity. Your peace is your gateway to everything God has for you. And anyone or anything that disturbs your peace is not from God. Remember that. You are not responsible for making everyone happy. You are not obligated to stay where you're not valued. You are not required to explain your boundaries to people who keep violating them. You have permission to outgrow relationships. You have permission to change your mind about people. You have permission to protect yourself even if it makes others uncomfortable. Your life is not a democracy. Not everyone gets a vote. Not everyone deserves a say. Not everyone has earned the right to your time, your energy, your love. And here's the truth that will set you free. You cannot lose what's meant for you. You cannot mess up what's ordained for you. You cannot block what God has assigned to you. So stop holding on to people out of fear. Stop staying in situations out of desperation. Stop tolerating less because you're afraid there's nothing more. There is more. There is better. There is greater. But you have to create space for it. And you create space by removing what doesn't belong. Let me share something with you that changed my perspective forever. Think about a garden. A beautiful garden doesn't become beautiful by accident. The gardener doesn't just plant seeds and walk away. No, the gardener tends to that garden daily. He waters what needs to grow. He removes the weeds that choke the flowers. He cuts away dead branches. He protects the garden from pests. And sometimes he has to uproot entire plants that are diseased, because if he doesn't, they will infect everything around them. Your life is a garden, and you are the gardener. Every relationship is a plant. Some are flowers that bloom and bring beauty to your life. Some are trees that provide shade and shelter, but some are weeds. And no matter how long they've been there, no matter how familiar they are, they have to be removed. Because if you let the weeds stay, they will take over. They will drain the nutrients from the soil. They will block the sunlight. They will kill everything good you're trying to grow. And the hardest part about removing weeds is that sometimes they look like flowers. Sometimes they're beautiful on the surface. Sometimes they've been there so long that you forget they're actually killing your garden. But a true gardener knows the difference. A true gardener doesn't let sentiment override wisdom. A true gardener protects the garden even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when others don't understand. Because the gardener knows that the garden is his responsibility. And what grows there determines what fruit he will eat tomorrow. Your circle is your garden. Your relationships determine your harvest. Your associations determine your destination. And if you want a different harvest, you need to plant different seeds. If you want a different future, you need different people around you. If you want peace, you need to remove chaos. If you want growth, you need to remove stagnation. If you want success, you need to remove those who celebrate your failures. This is not about being cruel. This is about being intentional. This is not about being cold. This is about being wise. Some of you right now are exhausted because you're trying to maintain relationships that should have ended years ago. You're trying to fix people who don't want to be fixed. You're trying to force connections that have no chemistry. You're trying to keep peace with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And all that effort, all that energy, all that emotional labor is keeping you from the life you're supposed to be living. It's keeping you from the people you're supposed to meet. It's keeping you from the opportunities you're supposed to receive. It's keeping you from the version of yourself you're supposed to become. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to take inventory. I need you to look at every relationship in your life and ask yourself these questions. Does this person add value to my life or drain it? Does this person celebrate my wins or secretly resent them? Does this person respect my boundaries or constantly violate them? Does this person show up for me or only when they need something? Does this person speak life into me or constantly remind me of my past? Does this person support my growth or try to keep me small? And be honest with yourself. Don't make excuses. Don't justify bad behavior. Don't lower your standards to accommodate people who refuse to rise. Just be honest. And when you identify relationships that are toxic, that are draining, that are one-sided, that are holding you back, here's what you do. You don't fight. You don't argue. You don't try to get the last word. You don't expose them. You don't destroy them. You simply remove yourself. You create distance. You stop being available. You stop engaging. You stop explaining. And you do it silently. No announcement. No declaration. No dramatic exit. Just a quiet, powerful, permanent removal from their access to you. Because here's what I've learned. The people who deserve to be in your life will fight to stay there. They will notice the distance. They will ask what's wrong. They will reflect on their behavior. They will apologize. They will change. They will show you through their actions that they value you. But those who don't even notice you're gone, those who easily replace you, those who feel no remorse, they just confirm that your decision was right. They just prove that they never valued you in the first place. And that's painful. But it's also liberating, because now you know, and you can stop wasting energy on people who were never worth it. So today, make the decision. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, because you will never feel ready. Make the decision today that you will no longer tolerate what you don't deserve. Make the decision today that your peace is non-negotiable. Make the decision today that your future is more important than your past. Make the decision today that you will protect your space, your energy, your time, and your heart with everything in you. And then do it silently, powerfully, without apology, without explanation, without looking back. Because the life you are meant to live is waiting for you on the other side of the courage to let go. The people you are meant to meet are waiting for you on the other side of releasing the wrong ones. The peace you are meant to feel is waiting for you on the other side of protecting your boundaries. And the purpose you are meant to fulfill is waiting for you on the other side of removing every distraction, every toxic relationship, every energy vampire that has been feeding off your light. You were born for greatness. You were created for impact. You were designed for purpose. And it's time to start living like it. Not by being loud, not by proving yourself, not by defending your decisions, but by silently, confidently, powerfully removing everything and everyone that does not align with where you're going. That's maturity, that's wisdom, that's strength. And that's exactly what you're going to do starting today.